Hello, everyone. Welcome to round number 6 of the Superbet Chess Classic 2022 in Romania. Another decisive game in this round is this win by Lenier Dominguez against the local hero Bogdan Deyak. All right, let's check it out. This is actually Lenier's first win in the tournament. We went for e4, c5, knight f3, d6. All right, we have the Najdorf. The Sicilian Najdorf, one of the most aggressive lines in the Sicilian. d4 takes, knight f6, knight c3, a6. And here white played bishop e3. We have the English attack of the Najdorf. e5 was played back, knight b3, bishop e6, f3. Here, black went for h5. Okay, the main point of h5 is to stop a g4 later, actually, in the game. Line could continue with bishop e7, queen d2, castles, queenside, knight b d7, and then g4. This is also a very famous line, yeah, with a move like b5 here, right? b5, g5, b4, knight into e2, and knight h5, knight g3. Okay, and also black could go for this knight e8 line. Knight to d5 takes and takes. So black went for h5, stopping g4. Knight e5 takes. Knight b d7, queen d2, g6 castles queenside. We have an interesting sacrifice here with the white pawn on d5 here. King to b1, knight b takes d5, and then queen on g5. All right. Black played bishop e7. Here, Dominguez went for a3. In Aronian and Westie's game, Aronian went for bishop to e3. Westie played rook c8, rook e1, castles h4, knight b6, and g4. With a better game for white, and actually white went on to win this game. It was 3 years ago. Okay. In this game, Lenier went for a3. Queen into c7, g3. By the way, this is the novelty, not a3, but g3. This is the new move, g3. Okay, previously it was c4, but the knight can jump into f4. Takes, castles queenside, and this should be equal with the opposite colored bishop, right? So Lenier's point of playing g3 is to stop this idea of playing knight f4. Black went for rook d8. I think black could also try castle queenside here, yeah? Now if we go c4, knight to b6, knight a5, king b8. Of course, with chances for both sides. Well, white can even play here b4. A very dynamic game. But black played rook d8. He just wants to castle short. Bishop into d3, knight b6, rook e1, d5. You're not wasting time with these two centralized pawns. Queen e2, knight d7. Okay, protecting e5 because the rook and queen is attacking it. c4, castles, takes and takes. Black is still one pawn up, but white always has this pressure, especially with the two bishops. The pair of bishops. Rook into e8, rook c1. Black's threat is also bishop takes and knight c3 here. Oops. So rook c1, queen d6, h4, right? b5, knight into d2. Now white threatens knight e4, but actually now black is better with knight c5. Knight e4, knight takes e4. I'm not too sure about knight takes e4. Here, black could play the move queen b6. Yes? If knight takes on c5, b takes c5. I think this is a better version of the game with ideas of b4 here. Yeah? And probably later on, you can also go for knight c3, okay, with the pawn on b4. And also this bishop d4 idea. But with takes on e4, okay, takes. Problem is the bishop is still blocking the rook, so you don't gain any tempo. The queen e6 and bishop into c2. White transfers his bishop to b3. Pressure on f7 here. Okay, an interesting position here. Black gets another pawn. So black is actually 2 pawns up, but white is slightly better. It's hard to imagine black having won 2 pawns, but white has more pressure. Yeah. White is giving more pressure to black here with this light square. Yeah. We went back to f8. This is bishop g5 attacking the rook on d8, rook d6, rook d1. Right, the pin. Queen f5, queen e4. If you take the queen, f takes e4, you go knight b6, rook takes, bishop takes, and white has rook c6. If you play knight c8 here, rook takes h6. Black is still 1 pawn up, but these are 2 powerful bishops. And very bad position of the knight, bishop, and rook. It's in a passive position. Yes. And 2 bishops in the rook are very active. This pawn is also going to be a target later in the game. So knight b6 takes the same, and then rook c6. Yeah. Knight goes back to c8, which is force, takes on a6. Okay, maybe this goes back to that move d5. Let's just go back here. That's why the pawn on a6 was the target. In this position, if you play queen e6 here, it's better to keep that pawn on b7, right? It protects a6 and also the c6 square. Yeah, and if let's say knight goes to d2, knight c5, let's look at the difference here. And you go knight e4, for example. Now you have knight takes d3, right? Takes on d3, we go knight b4, right? We have a threat on a2. So there's a big difference with this b5 and pawn on b7, yeah. Because we do b5 now 92, 95, 94. If we take on d3, it's not possible because the knight on e4 is attacking the queen. So there was a tempo on the queen, yeah. Compared to playing it with queen e6 without moving that pawn, black gets this knight takes d3 and winning after knight b4. Sometimes this one single move can make or break the game. Yeah. Especially with the pawns, because the pawns are the souls of the game. The problem with pawns, again, if you push that pawn, you cannot move it back. That's why we have to be careful with pawn moves. Unlike the minor pieces or the major piece, you can move pieces back, but pawns, no. So you push it, it's already it's a committal move. You already commit to that move because you can bring it back. And actually, it gives white some breathing room here in b5. And it's a waste. Okay, he gets that pawn on a6. Look at that. Instead of, if the pawn was on b7, you cannot take pawn on a6. That was the difference. King goes to g7, rook c6 back. Queen d5, pressure. Here, stronger alternative for white here is g4. Yep. f6 is bishop c1, takes and takes. Now you're threatening h5, queen g6. This is, I guess, a better version of the game. But anyways, queen d5 restricts the knight. Rook and queen attacking that bishop, so the knight has to stay on c8 to protect e6. e4, bishop e3, trying to activate his bishop into this diagonal a1 to h8. Bishop d4 check. f6, take the pawn first. Pressure on f6, and black here plays rook f8. I think here it's time for black to just exchange the queens, to ease that pressure on the king. Because with that queen, it's pretty hard to defend the white's attack. Without the queen, okay, the pawns are bad. Pawns are bad, but you can regroup. Let's say bishop c2, rook goes to d8, protect the bishop. If bishop takes f5, you have knight to e7. And if, let's say, rook c3, keep regrouping bishop to b8. The rook attacks the bishop. So now it doesn't have that pressure on f6. The rook maybe has to protect this bishop on d4 and then just protect, White might still be better in this game, but at least not so much. Compared to when you have that queen on the board, queen d5, pressure on the king, pressure on your piece. It's the principle of two weaknesses, the king's position and your pin on the d file. Queen goes to e7, nice exchange. Because if you take that queen, bishop takes e6, removing the defender on c8, you can take on d6. After queen d8, all right, the typical exchange with two minor pieces for a rook. White has two bishops. It's already winning for white, but white has to be careful here. Queen d8, queen e6. The queen cannot take the bishop on d4. There's queen e7, and it should be mate after that. So black had to play king h7, bishop into d5. Not exchanging the queen. Queen b6, bishop e6, queen d8, queen a7 check. King goes to h8. King a2, maybe not that good square for the king. I think king c2 was safer. If we try to look at that, if let's say queen to d6, then you have bishop c5 here. Compared it to king a2, black was able to play queen d6. You cannot go bishop c5 because queen takes is a check. And you also have to worry some threats of queen c6 and rook a8 here. But anyways, white is still better. White is still winning. Bishop b3, bishop c3, bishop e6. b4. Black can actually survive with rook e8. Now with, let's say, bishop to b3, only then you go b4 because white cannot take that pawn. There's rook a8 wins. Earlier you cannot go rook a8 because of bishop takes f6, right? King has nowhere to go, and you will lose your rook on a8, yes. But this time with rook e8 and b4, the bishop cannot take because it moves away from attacking the f6 pawn. The bishop has to stay on d4, and you go queen c6, keeping an eye on f6. The queen cannot really go to f7 here because it's going to be mate, queen a6, king to b1, rook e1. If you go king c2, queen e2 is mate. So you still have to be careful. That's why I didn't like this king a2 move, because it actually makes your queen on a7 passive. because of this open line here, and it's on the rim. Yeah, you have this side file mates. Okay, but b4, okay, bishop b4, rook b8. Now it's different, bishop c4. Okay, just gaining time. King e7, bishop a7. Okay, queen c6, king b3. Finally, king is safe. Queen e6. All right, the timing of the exchange. Once the king takes this pawn, you cannot stop this pawn from promoting. Rook d8 takes, game over. Bishop b8. Here the bishop on b8 protects the important g3 pawn. Rook e3, bishop e5, after rook e8, bishop f4, and here black resigned because the pawn will just go all the way. e4, b5, b6, 7, b8, unstoppable. So that was Lenier Dominguez' first win in the tournament, and that ties him with his victim, the local hero Bogdan Deak, with 3 points. There are 2 leaders with 4 points. Yeah, they're 1 point ahead of the rest. It's Romania and Wesley So, with last 3 games remaining. So that was it in round number 6 of the Superbet Chess Classic 2022. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you for supporting our channel, Charles Max Chess and Charles Max Entertainment, on Facebook and YouTube. This is Coach Oliver. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.